The Bible never contradicts itself, and that's very true. But some others think otherwise. And so we have a question here. Let's look at it. It says, how many valiant men drew the sword in Israel and Judah as counted by Joab? And the person provided two Bible passages, 2 Samuel 24, verse number 9, and 1 Chronicles 21, verse number 5. He says in Israel there were 800,000 men, then in Judah there were 500,000 men, according to 2 Samuel. Then according to 1 Chronicles, the Bible says Israel 1,100,000, then Judah 470,000. So according to this person, the Bible contradicts itself. Let's look at this. One way of dealing with alleged Bible contradictions is to read the Bible for yourself. So let's look at what the Bible says in 2 Samuel. This is what the Bible says in there. I read. And Joab gave the sum of the numbering of the people to the king. In Israel, there were 800,000 valiant men. So what the person says, this is where we find it. 800,000 valiant men who drew the sword. And the second part says, and the men of Judah were 500,000. So in 2 Samuel 24, verse 9, it says, valiant men, 800,000. Now let's look at 1 Chronicles 21. It says this in verse 5. And Joab gave the sum of the numbering of the people to David. In all Israel, note that there were 1,100,000 men who drew the sword, and in Judah 470,000 who drew the sword. Please, did you realize the difference? In 2 Samuel 24, the Bible says that the valiant men, valiant, mighty men, seasoned soldiers, veterans, they were 800,000 in Israel. But in 1 Chronicles, he gives the total number of all the men that drew the sword, whether they were mighty, whether they were not mighty. That is 1,100,000 men. So the question says, how many valiant men drew the sword? And the answer is 800,000. There's no contradiction in here. No contradiction. Now the second part, it says that Judah, according to 2 Samuel, is 500,000. Then 1 Chronicles, according to the number of people there for Judah, is 470,000. But if you spend time to continue the reading, you would see the answer in there. In 1 Chronicles chapter 21, verse 6, please look at the answer in there. It says, but he did not include Levi and Benjamin in the numbering, for the king's command was abhorrent to Joab. So in 1 Chronicles, where it says that the men in Judah were 470,000, the Bible says that the people in Levi and Benjamin were not included. They were not included, but in the counting in 2 Samuel 24, they were included. How? Now, the second thing to also note is that when you look at 2 Samuel and 1 Chronicles, why would one say 500,000 for Judah and 470,000 for Judah in 1 Chronicles? One thing to understand and to note is that during the counting, they started from tribes that were across the Jordan. Then they moved to the north, then from the north to the south towards Jerusalem. You can find this in 2 Samuel 24 from verse 5 to verse 7. It will give you that idea. And the tribe of Benjamin is found at the southern part. Therefore, the counting, just as we see in 1 Chronicles, before Joab got there, he stopped the counting. So there's no contradiction in here. But like I mentioned earlier, in 2 Samuel, the number of troops, the soldiers, they were known already. So he included the number in there. So this is no contradiction. If you clearly read the Bible and take your time to look at what it says, it will give you clear understanding of this. I hope this helped. You look at the remaining two alleged contradictions that were brought up, or when I said that the Bible never contradicts itself. Thank you very much.